I'm delighted to be joined on stage by Madhu because he brings a wealth of retail industry experience. His career now as CEO of Bolt, which was valued as an $11 billion company in 2022, and he has since added over 100 million shoppers to your network. But before that, at over stints at Microsoft and Amazon, and he spent almost 8 years at Amazon, where he left the company as GM VP and was an integral player in the rollout of both Amazon Prime and Amazon Fresh. Madhu, thank you for being here. As the title of today's event says, we have reached an inflection point in the adoption of technology in the fashion industry. But concurrent to that inflection point, we are also facing a global economic downturn, where the state of fashion that Imran just mentioned reports that 73% of consumers are delaying discretionary expenditure, and compounding the issue, the cost of customer acquisition has spiked significantly, going up to 70%. The cost of acquisition has risen 70% on TikTok and 39% on Meta platforms. So in all of that context, given that we only have 9 minutes now, what are the 3 things that you think retailers should focus when they think about their investment?
Well, number 1 is customer empathy. There's a lot going on with the consumers right now, and merchants are trying to categorize customers and trying to understand them at a high level. I think now more than ever before, you need to understand the consumer at a deeper level and an individual level, and have an empathy for the consumer.
I want to talk about attribution and personalization a little bit more, but other than customer empathy, what are the other 2 things?
Number 2 is speed of innovation. Robin, like 3 months ago, nobody was talking about generative AI, and now that's top of mind for everybody. And what I find is retailers and brands sometimes are so busy migrating their systems, which takes multi-year, and they're missing out on some of the exciting things happening. And so how can we move fast and not miss out on some of those things is number 2. And the third one is truly about the growth of e-commerce. You know, e-commerce is around 15% of overall commerce today. How do we grow from 15 to 50 is the question. And I think the answer is lying in the hands of a lot of people in this room. And the keyword is omni-channel. Love to talk more about that.
So let's start back and think about this idea of customer empathy. What's so critical about treating an individual as an individual rather than an individual with a degree of certain attributes that has been attached to them?
Yeah, I think it is a hard problem, first of all, to really understand and connect and engage with the consumer directly. And today with AI and other categorization technologies, it's much more faster and easier to find, okay, what's a cohort of customer? For example, Gen Zs, people tend to put it all together. I don't think probably Gen Zs may not think that all of them have the exact same desire or needs. Or for you, Robin, you would probably want to be identified as Robin versus someone who kind of sort of looked like Robin. So that understanding a consumer at that individual level, especially there's so much happening, like with probably a looming kind of a recession, consumers are thinking about their spending overall, and the behavior of different categories might be different. But at that individual level and deepening that understanding, that connection, is pivotal now than ever before.
And when we think about, when you understand your consumer community as an individual, thinking now about this idea of speed and being able to respond to the signals that they're showing, can you tell me a little bit about some of the competitive advantage that you have seen over your career that has been gained by acting quickly and responding to those signals?
Yeah, like for example, like speed matters now than ever before. Back in the day when we were running, when I was at Amazon, we launched Amazon Prime Now, which is a 1-hour delivery, in 111 days from the concept to launch. So that's how fast you need to move and how fast the industry is moving now. And for example, at Bolt, I made sure that our product can be used very quickly by the consumers. Some of our customers, like Fanatics, for example, was able to implement our product, Bolt, in 3 weeks. That's the speed that you need today to connect to the consumer and make sure that we don't miss out on things.
Yesterday, Madhu and I hosted a breakfast for some executives that work in retail and technology, and something that came up, which I found very interesting, was how critical physical retail stores have become in painting that richer data picture of your individuals. Can you tell me why you think omnichannel is going to unlock that final 35% of total commerce, as it were, the 15% to 50% you mentioned earlier?
I am very excited about this, and I think this is very important to this crowd. I think Amazon helped to drive e-commerce from 0 to 15%. But the 15 to 50, omnichannel is going to play a big role, and Amazon now is trying to get into the physical space. They're trying to get into that. Because most of the fashion retailers already have the physical stores. And thanks to the rush during the pandemic, e-commerce capability has also been built out during that time. So now the question is, how do we bring that together? How do we bring the e-commerce experience and the physical store experience, bring that together and connect to bring the next level experience for shoppers? And that is going to be what's driving the growth in e-commerce and overall commerce for especially this group.
And what technologies or infrastructure do you think are going to be critical in those store experiences that will enable retailers to really use those experiences to build those pictures of those individuals and inform the rest of their retail ecosystems?
Yeah, one of the examples last year when Revolve wanted to put a QR code-based buying experience at their fashion week here in New York, we were able to work together in a few weeks and launch that. And when people walked into the fashion show, people can just scan an item with their phone, buy with one click. And to make that happen, you need to know the identity of the shopper, you need to have their information, and then blend that into the experience in a physical store. Think about in the future where you have a wish list online, and you walk into the physical store, and you can see that and then continue to build up on your wish list, or maybe touch and feel some product, see something and buy it. Or you see some product in a physical store, you go back online and you want to see that continuity of that. So bridging the experience between the online experience and the offline experience, that's kind of the future. And there is so much innovation that can be done. And I feel like this group has a distinct advantage here, and I'm looking forward to partnering with some of the innovators here and drive that.
One of the cohorts we have in the audience today are emerging entrepreneurs who are at the beginning of their journey. You know, part of the reason why we put on summits like this is that the industry is faced with an onslaught of innovation. There are new technologies, new solutions, new opportunities every day. If you were starting from scratch right now, thinking about launching your fashion or your retail business, how would you think about the technology investment you were making? What do you think is the core thing that has changed today, that if you were not under the weight of all the legacy investment that so many organizations have to deal with today, the migrations that we were talking about a moment ago, what would you advise to those entrepreneurs at the beginning of their journey?
Right now, there are a few things that are really interesting. Number one, e-commerce and overall commerce, for example, is poised for growth. So it's a great space to be in, number one. Number two, the technology that is available to you today is amazing. Like whether it's AI, whether it's Web3, whether there is the ability to connect directly with the consumer, there's so much out there from an infrastructure perspective. My focus again goes back to same things I said at the very beginning, which is the consumer empathy. Start with there. Really understand what is happening to the consumer. Don't get lost at a very high level or averages, because you miss out the individuals and the specifics. And more, the world needs more empathy, and people need to understand consumers directly. So focus on the consumer and move extremely fast based on the technology that's available. Iterate and move fast. Don't wait for like 12 months, 16 months, because the world will be a very different place. Like I said, 3 months ago, nobody was talking about generative AI, and we don't know what we are going to talk about 3 months from now. So put yourself equipped with speed so you can iterate and learn, experiment and learn. And the last thing is, what I see the advantage on the physical space. Jump into the omni-channel, like really find out the next unlock in e-commerce. I think between Amazon, again, grateful to be part of a lot of that growth, but kind of figure out e-commerce. Like, you can do it faster, you get the selection, you get the pricing. I mean, there is not a whole lot more to chip away on that one. But when you break into the physical experience and think about throwing the technology like AI on top of that, think about the identity of the shoppers and all their information, having all of that, what can you do? And I think the possibilities are unlimited. And so I'm very excited about the space, hence I am doing this. But I think anyone who is thinking about this, this is a great time to have some fun.
I think that's a great note to end on. Thank you very much for your time, Madhu. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.